Kia ora, I'm Elvie and welcome back to today's video. Today we are not reviewing paint, we are reviewing paper because I have a whole stash of samples of different types of paper. I'll be testing gouache and watercolour on them. It is Harmony's watercolour paper, or if you're German, it is however you'd pronounce this, but it's got the rooster logo. This paper I'll be testing today is hot press paper with 300 GSM. So that's how much paper's per square. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with that. So if you want any of that other information, you can just pause right now. But yeah. So this is watercolour paper. We have two seagulls. Bottom one will be gouache and the top one will be watercolour. And yeah, basically I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions about these paper, the stash of paper I have, and yeah, by the end of it, hopefully, if you want to test out different papers, you'll know what ones you want to invest in. So away we go. So I'm going to start off with the gouache. It is just Winsor & Newton designer gouache, freshly squeezed out of the tubes, which I will be swatching. It's not going to be like full strength over top, but enough. Very first opinion, it is very smooth to apply onto. It goes on very, very smoothly. Which is good because it is hot press paper, and that's kind of what you expect from hot press paper. So hot press paper is basically smooth, is the best way of putting it. So if I give you a bit of a closer look, there isn't much texture on the actual paper, which is really good if you want to just do a flat, detailed painting. Personally, my go-to is cold press, but that's just because it's the most available, and I quite like texture in my works. Honestly, paper will vary from person to person, and so this mini series will just be about just seeing the quality of these papers and what kind of I find works best for gouache and watercolour, from my limited use of it. I will start painting the seagull then. I'm just gonna be mixing. My brain needs to switch back to gouache mode, so gonna have to give me a second here. Just remember how it works. Yeah, so as I go, I'll just point out little things I'm noticing or finding with the paper. And yeah, I just definitely reinforcing the idea that it's very smooth to apply, paint onto. Very smooth surface. And yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, we ignore the air bubbles, but I mean, look at it. Already there is a little bit of warping. I don't know if you can tell. But that just tends to happen with paper in general. And yeah, but it is noted that I haven't used too much water all at once yet. So we'll see how that goes with the watercolour. It does feel very nice to paint onto though. I am enjoying putting paint on this surface, so I think that's the back done. Now for the body. Using quite a bit of white gouache, but that's just kind of how it goes usually. I quite enjoy using gouache, just for the fact it's similar to watercolor, but it gives you a different effect. Like it's gives you very much an acrylic paint look. And I do like using acrylic paint, but you know, it can be annoying to clean. And it just isn't as doesn't feel as like easy as gouache, which is yeah, you can kind of just pour it out of the tube and yeah, add some water and then you're basically on your way. Acrylic paint, I feel I've created like a idea that it takes a lot more time to set up and clean up and stuff. There is one sheet of acrylic paper I do have. I'm unsure if I want to review that just because I don't tend to work on paper for acrylic paints, or just with acrylic paints in general, especially on this channel. I might, but yeah, it will just depend how I go and depends just where I'm at with that and yeah, but I mean it would be a fun little chance to do an acrylic painting on here. My acrylic paintings tend to take a bit longer, but that's okay. We'll just play it by ear, really. Look at this little guy. He's very much in the shadow. And I'm so sorry about my hand blocking the light. Hopefully that's not affecting you guys too much. One of the most beautiful things about the Sego is its red striking eyes. I'm just getting the colour mixed up over here. It's quite more orangey than I want. Oh yeah. Start with that. the good thing about gouache is I can paint over my mistakes. The aggressiveness of that, oopsie. And just because the legs are in the shadows, we'll just add a darker tone over them, add a bit more, whatever, and then the eye. Beautiful. And then, since we have some and we haven't used it yet, we've got the green, we'll just add a bold little circular shape behind him or her. Can really see just how much the colour pops on this paper, and it just glides on. Me trying to picture a circle. Think of... Oh, it's going to be a bit of a lopsided circle, but that's okay. Circles are hard. And I'm not using a compass. That's very fun. Bit more water. Oopsie. She'll be right. Yeah, so definitely a bit of warping on the paper with the gouache. I assume the watercolour will face similar issues because it is watercolour and you use more water than gouache. I tend to anyway. Not sure how you guys work with your paints, but yeah, if you can kind of see the warping. I do have it taped down in the corners, just so it doesn't move around on the paper, but that also means that it's not like going to warp to its full capability. I'll just do a similar colour palette to this, and I don't have a white paint directly on my palette. So these are just Winsor Newton Cotman paints. I'm gonna roll with that. Oh, I'm just gonna, oh, it's a bit, maybe I'll put a different blue down then. And yeah, the reason I'm using these paints is just because yeah, that is good paints. And they're right on my desk, like right here, so might as well use them. Me picking what 6 colours I want to swatch. So yeah, these are all Cotman paints. If you're curious, me just adjusting. And the pen I've used is just a uni ball. Very classic pen. And if you're curious, I took these photos of the seagulls in Rotorua and on the Coromandel side of New Zealand. But you know, you can find a seagull in many, many places if you want to get your own reference photos. I do quite enjoy painting seagulls when it came to painting birds, just because, especially starting out, they're quite simple to paint because they just have colour on their legs and beak, and then the greys and stuff on the rest of the body. So it means you can just really get used to painting the tones of the bird, which is quite good to get behind your belt, get under your belt, get better at painting shadows and stuff. And if you hear any noise in the background, that is either my neighbours or my coffee. No, technically it's a hazel hot chocolate. Usually it's a mochaccino, but today I'm switching it up and going crazy. But yeah, it's a cute little seagull. I'll probably stick with the... It is tempting to just stick with the seagull theme throughout the paper, but I might get bored of that idea and change it. So yeah, expect the unexpected with this series, especially since I'm not expecting anything out of it. I'm just expecting to maybe paint a few birds or paint a few animals, or yeah, who knows, honestly. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see painted, or what you'd like to see or hear about this paper in particular, feel free to just leave it in the comments. I will be reading them, and I'm happy to hear any suggestions or ideas. What a cutie. And just like this one, we'll have a green shape of sorts around. Bit smaller this time. But yeah, definitely warps a bit more with the watercolour. But yeah, similar feeling. It goes on very smoothly because there's no texture for the watercolour to get hooked on. Oh, got a bit of green on the seagull, but that's beside the point. Oh, got a really warped circle over here. But that's beside the point. So, first of the paper series is done. So we have this guy. Looks kind of like a pigeon, but that's beside the point. We've got this guy, and yep. So this is on hot press paper. It does hold the watercolor and stuff. It does warp a bit, but you'll find that with most papers. And if you want less warping, you just get thicker paper, or you tape it down. Or once this is dry, you could stick it between a few heavy books flat, and that will mean it will just lay flat once it's set, left there for a bit. But yeah, no, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys join me for the next paper type in the series. But if not, enjoy your day, and thanks for watching along.